my goodness, where is this dude? He's been hiding out forever. I cannot today. I cannot.
Bro, you better not have turned on the light again, I swear.
It's been so long. What are you doing?
This year is the freaking worst, and I want a redo. I'm so tired of being in. I just want to go to Disney.
Okay, I get it, but like you can't just sit in here forever.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, we can. Yes, we did. Yes, we can. Thank you. May God continue to bless the United States of America.
A toast. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel on Page Sage. I know it's been a while. I wonder why that might be.
No! God, please, no! 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 Shut up about
2020.
Shut up about the
Effing year 2020.
Yep. So today I'm going to talk to you all about an upcoming event in November. If you're writers or readers, you probably know about it. It's called NaNoWriMo. Before we start though, I'm going to be having a guest with me for today's video. Are you ready? Bah! Good boy, Potato. We'll see how long this lasts. I might not have my guest for very long.
Drop that.
So, NaNoWriMo, what's the short of it? Basically, it's a challenge over the entire month where you basically start from essentially scratch or maybe the very beginnings of your project and you say, okay, I'm going to, by the end of November, have written my manuscript. If I've caught you watching this here on like the last week of October, then yes, you absolutely still have time to do this. But if you're gonna make it work, you must nail down your idea. And that's why I'm making this video. 5 questions to help you pull your idea out of thin air. Question number 1 is, what is cool? Emphasis on what. You want to think of this as something, someone, someplace, a blank subject that you think is cool, and then think to yourself, what is cool about it? So for example, one of the things that I'm really into is archery. And at the same time, my favorite superpower happens to be teleportation. So archery, teleportation, things that I think are cool. That's my what. Once you have your what, you basically turn that into a what if. What if there was a bow that allowed its user to teleport? Now I've got my what if. Question number 1. Question number 2 is where. All right, so I've got this bow and it allows its user to teleport. Where is this story taking place? Where is the setting for my what? If it's on an alien world, that's going to change my story drastically. I'm going to be talking about world building. I'm going to have to invent probably a new species and terms and stuff like that because it's just not going to be here. And if my where happens to be here on planet Earth, then I can usually go with the rules that are already established here. When it comes to thinking about the mechanics of my what, which will come a little bit later, I can talk about the specific rules of Earth and things that people are already familiar with. So for me, in this particular example, let's start at the top. What? Archery, teleportation. That's things that I think are cool. My where is going to be here on Earth because I won't have to make up as much stuff for this example. Question number 3 is how? How does my what work? Keep in mind, based off of where you said your location was going to be, that's going to determine largely how that rule set happens. So for example, if my where happened to be on the moon and I was talking about archery and teleportation, I might have to be like Andy Weir in his Artemis book, which I just finished reading, which talks a lot about the differences in gravity and mass and how all of that affects things in his book. But since mine's on Earth, I can use a lot of rules that are a lot more familiar here when I bring my audience into the loop. When it comes to how, we're looking at a couple of things. How was my what introduced into the story? Was it discovered? Was it invented? Is it some piece of ancient technology or ancient relic or treasure or something like that? How describes a lot of how is this introduced to the story. For the sake of our story with this teleportation bow, we're gonna go old school. This is archaic. This is some well-kept secret, something almost magical and very ancient. That's the how. So we've got what our story is going to be about. We've got about where it's going to be. We've got kind of the how, which, by the way, if you don't have all of those details of your how at the very beginning during your planning, that's okay. That's honestly what the writing process is flushing those details out. But all of that doesn't matter if we don't have a who. No one's gonna wanna read really a story about some anthropomorphic bow walking around the earth. The whole point is the bow has to be used by someone. So, our who. Keep in mind, based off of where we decided to put the story, our who is going to change. Aliens, humans, children, preteen, older adult, something like that. All of that depends on your where. Also, back in the beginning, when I asked you what is cool, you may have come up with a pirate that goes out and is constantly thieving.
You are without doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of.
But you have heard of me.
That to you might be cool. So you might already have your who to begin with. Who probably should have a little asterisk because it's not just about who the person is, it's also about what they go through. Here's an example. A queen goes through the ascension process and becomes hardened through it on her journey to the throne. Another one, a superhero is always striving for justice, but the methods that they use are always landing them inside of the gray area. In my scenario, archery plus teleportation, I basically started out with an item that has some sort of power. That basically means that I'm hinting at having a magic system. A magic system will have users and sometimes factions or perhaps keepers. So following my setup, since I said that this is here on Earth and it's in some ancient, well-guarded, almost magical type of setting, let's say this time that it's a group chosen to be guardians over the world, maybe ancient monks, an order of ancient monks that are used to using near magical weapons, kind of like the bow that we've been talking about. And finally, our fifth question is our why. Your why is what's going to drive your plot. It's basically like you sitting down at a table for two with your reader and giving them the ask. When a car salesman has a customer, they sit down and they give them an ask. They basically say, hey, what is it going to take for me to get you in this car today? Similarly, you are asking your reader, which by the way, very much so is the customer, what concepts, what hooks, what interesting pieces can I put into this story in order to get you reading all the way to the end? Whatever those answers are, those are your why. So thinking back over our 5 questions, we started with a what, then we went to where, then we went to how, who are we talking about, and now we're at our why. Does all of this matter? Let's see what we came up with. For ages, these hidden monks worked together with the relics to watch over their sectors of the world. However, after simultaneous coordinated attacks on multiple monasteries where several relics have gone missing, 2 young monks trained in teleportation arts are sent into the world with only one mission. Reclaim what was lost before those stolen weapons can be used to track down and destroy the remaining order as a whole. Bum, bum, bum. Archers of the Realm, coming soon towards you. All right, so there we go. I know that was pretty fast, but that's really it. Those 5 questions to help you get started before NaNoWriMo to hammer out that last bit of your idea. Sometimes in order to go forward, you're gonna have to go backwards. Back when I was first coming up with my ideas for the discipline of peace, which comes from my book, Beasts Within Our Blood, I knew that I wanted this global academy with a bunch of different factions and powers fighting each other. But in order to go forwards with that story, I really needed to fill that institute with factions and people and figure out why would they be at this place to begin with. So I used a timeline going backwards to set up history, which helped me set up nations, which helped me set up conflicts, and all of that comes very naturally when all of that comes to a head and gets us to the institute that I wanted to start at from the first place. All right, everybody, that's all I've got for today. Thank you all so much for coming back to the channel. I know it's really been a while, but I'm going to be uploading some more, and I can say a lot of that is due to my own journey of writing as well. Still on submission right now. Got some pretty good feedback from like Del Rey publishers, publishers of Red Rising series. They said that my manuscript is very promising. It's just not the correct age group, a little bit closer to YA than adult. But yeah, still on submission with that. I'll make sure I update you guys here and also on the website with more information when I've got it. So thank you all again for sticking through it. I know this year has been tough, but what I'm hoping is that you all will keep on with those stories, because some of you are going to be tomorrow's favorite authors, and I would just be thrilled to have a part of that through this channel. So thank you all once again, and write on.